What's up, YouTube? This is Chris, and of course, this is my channel, Barnon11970. Thank you, as always, for checking out my video. Quick little video. I want to talk about my feelings about what's going on with the protests here in New York. Obviously, I don't follow this stuff anymore because I know these things don't work, even though people may have the best intentions in the world. But as famous Rothschild once said, let them march all they want as long as they pay their taxes. And this is what I'm talking about creating your own world. And how there is, for every action, there is a reaction. Now, I saw some articles about people complaining about the fact that the police are pepper spraying them. Well, here's the thing that people need to understand, or understand. Well, you don't want to get pepper sprayed. You don't be in the position to put yourself in an area where you could potentially have that happen. There are so many better ways that people can spread their message without taking their time away from their family and their loved ones and their friends and their job and all the things that they hold dear, and going off and sitting in an uncomfortable place, staying in places where there's a bunch of people around, which you know if you gather a bunch of people around, it ends up people get sick, there's germs, there's dirt, there's negativity in the air, there's anger, people feed off of each other's frustration, and then you just get one person infiltrated into this whole scenario, and they decide that I want to cause problems, and next thing you know, we have a whole nother Ferguson. I don't understand the lack of ability for people to think and process what they do beyond that intense moment of saying, I'm angry, I'm pissed off, I'm whatever, I need to go down and voice my opinion. Well, whatever problem you have, there are ways to do it. If you don't like what the banks are doing, take your money out of the banks. If you don't like what Wall Street's doing, don't invest in Wall Street. If you don't like what the government's doing, then don't participate in voting for the lesser of two evils. The idea is to walk away, and they love when they get people to protest, because then it gives the cops justification to pepper spray you and put you in jail and potentially shoot you. Then there are riots and there are damage, which creates more money for the system because they can put more and more people in jail so they can continue to profit off the ignorance of the sheep. And people wonder why nothing ever changes. How many riots and protests have there been since just the 1960s alone? Has anything improved? People do not seem to understand that. I understand that most people go there with the purest of intentions of, I'm trying to make my voice heard. Well, they're the people that are the ones you're protesting against. They don't care because they're profiting off of you anyway. You're making business for them. You're making headlines. You're allowing the news channels to be able to, which are funded by all these other corporations and commercials and advertisements for drugs and all the wonderful alcohol that people love so much. And they can put this on the news and make you look foolish, make you look like the bad guy, potentially call you a potential terrorist if, God forbid, you actually stand up for your rights. And those people pocket all the money. Because when you stay there for days, weeks, months at a time, well, you have to eat, you have to drink, you have to be, keeping yourselves busy. So there are plenty of people that will take advantage of that and sell you a bunch of things so they could profit off of you. And Wall Street never changes, the banks never change, and the situation continues while you're sitting there in the freezing cold at night, sitting there thinking you're doing the right thing, you haven't showered in days, you smell, you're dirty, you get potentially sick, and nothing ever changes. People do not understand what the definition of insanity is, obviously. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You will never see me at these protests. Not that I don't care, it's that I know that they don't do anything. So if you want to sit there and think, oh, well, it's like donating to a charity. You think that money's actually going 100% to the charity? It's going mainly to the people who are the ones creating the very drugs that they're trying to sell you so you can treat yourself instead of cure yourself. But if it makes you feel good, that's what they want you to do. That freedom of choice, that illusion, where they just take that maze and they change the walls and make you think, well, I'm walking on my own, so I guess that's the free will and I'm going where I want to go. Well, no, they're directing you where they want you to go. They're just allowing you to take all the effort and the exhaustion to actually do the walk. I don't understand how people don't learn about this, but that's perfectly fine, because you know what? I'll never be pepper sprayed. I'll never have a policeman throw me in jail. Why? Because I'm not taking what limited energy I have in this universe, in this experience, and going to put it in a place that's unproductive. I took my money out of the banks years ago. I don't invest in stocks and paper currencies. I shut off the media. I don't have cable TV. I do my part. I have my own businesses. People may not like them for whatever reason, but you know what? I'm not feeding into the system. That's how you want to beat the system. You want to keep marching in these places and get shot at and arrested and pepper sprayed. Why are you complaining when you choose to put yourself in that environment? And like I talk about in one of my other videos about being bulletproof. Well, you're not going to be too bulletproof if you go and put yourself in a position where people could potentially shoot at you. People don't want to learn, and I don't understand it, but hey, that's their choice. If that's the experience they want to create, well, take responsibility for what you choose to do. Because if you go down to these protests thinking you're actually going to make change this one time, even though millions of other times it's never worked, but this time it's going to be the change we all want, when people decide it's time to walk away and no longer participate in their game, then they will win. Because if you go to a casino and you know the dealer is cheating, and he's rigged the game so you cannot win, you can sit there and complain all you want. You can hold every protest sign in the air and say, oh, this dealer is unfair and I don't like it. But if you're dumb enough to keep giving him your money and end up losing every time, don't sit there and complain because you're too stupid to get up and walk away from the game. It's their game. They've mastered how to cheat you. And you fall for it hook, line, and sinker. So to my fellow New Yorkers, you know, I'm from New York, walk away from these protests. You're not doing anything but hurting yourself and helping their cause. Because the first person that ends up violent, whether it's a aggravated and stressed out protester or it's some policeman pretending to be part of this, infiltrating into the community and starting another riot, well, if somebody gets shot and somebody gets pepper sprayed and somebody gets thrown in jail, don't complain. Because you decided to partake in a game you can't win. When you beat them at their own game by not playing, then you'll win. So keep lining up for iPads like the iPod 6. Keep lining up for Xbox and PlayStation 4. Keep doing all those ridiculous things that people will line up for hours for, but not do anything the right way, and that's walking away from a corrupt system. Keep playing their game and wonder why you keep losing. It's amazing how utterly ridiculous people are, and they will never learn. And it's a sad thing, but I've learned. And that's all that matters to me. And if you're here watching this, instead of being in a silly place like that, drowning in good intention, then you're learning as well. So I may not get a lot of people, but at least I get the smart ones. At least the ones that are not the trolls coming here just as the thumb down the video. So thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. And all the people out there freezing their butts off trying to make a stand, I hope it's worth it for you. Peace.